Introducing first, from Los Angeles, California, she is the Serpent of Sin. This is Vipress. Introducing her opponent, buzzing in from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, the city's own Danni Bee. And introducing their opponent, from Houston, Texas, she is the reigning Hurricane Pro Cruiserweight Champion, the Lucha Baddie, Miranda Alize.
All right, here we go. Triple threat action to determine the #1 contender for the Hurricane Pro Women's Championship, the Serpent of Sin Vipress, the Oklahoma native Danni Bee, and the Hurricane Pro Cruiserweight Champion herself, Miranda Alize. One of these three women will be the #1 contender for Lady Frost and her Hurricane Pro Women's Championship. Will it be the Cruiserweight Champion? We know Miranda Alize has been a fighting champion in the Cruiserweight division, tangling it up with both the women and the men. But now it looks like Miranda Alize looks to have her sights on putting even more gold around her waist. Are we looking at the next women's champion and our Cruiserweight champion? We will see. As you see, Miranda and Danni Bee taking the fight to the Serpent of Evil, Vipress. In this triple threat match, first fall to a finish, will be the #1 contender for the women's title. Miranda Alize with those deep shots right to the solar plexus of Vipress. It's interesting how usually degrades with this situation in triple threat matches where two competitors will often team up to take out the third one. That way they can turn it into a one-on-one contest. A little surprised that Danni Bee and Miranda Alize are so easily coming to terms on aligning themselves against the Serpent of Evil. But I guess with someone who considers herself a Disney villain come to life like Vipress, it's easy to, I guess, understand why they would want to take her out of the equation. As is Vipress on the outside, it's now one-on-one between Danni Bee, the first ever African-American champion in the history of Oklahoma, going one-on-one with our current Hurricane Pro Cruiserweight champion, Miranda Alize. You know, for so long, Miranda was the face of the Hurricane Pro Women's division, the first Hurricane Pro Women's champion. And since she segued into the Cruiserweight division, it's been quite some time since we saw her competing for that Women's Championship. This is a cover here. But she's better keep her eye on Danni Bee, who since making her debut at Hurricane Pro last year has been building a lot of momentum. She had a huge, huge victory against Chris Carter at our last event. Of course, Danni Bee also has been making a big splash with WOW Women of Wrestling. And she's making an even bigger splash with the big head scissors, turning the Cruiserweight champion inside out. Danni Bee is able to get a shot at the Hurricane Pro Women's Championship. And Miranda Alize turning around. Maybe going for Miranda rights here. Nope, turns it into a cover. Waistlock standing, and a knee right to the face from the superstar Miranda Alize. Here's the cover on the Danni Bee, and the Vipress breaks up. We'll never know. Now Vipress taking the fight to the Oklahoma native Danni Bee. Danni Bee's proud competitor from the great state of Oklahoma, but looking to make a big splash here in the Lone Star State. Training with, of course, Booker T at Reality of Wrestling, wrestling all over the great state of Texas. And now looks to take one more step closer, earning a championship gold here in the Lone Star State, here in Southeast Texas with the Hurricane Pro Women's title. The Vipress has other plans. The Serpent of Sin, twisting neck breaker on the Danni Bee cover here. And only a 2 count from referee Bobby Black. Women's wrestling has become a mainstay here at Hurricane Pro. Our fans look forward to the return, of course, our women's champion, Lady Frost, has been tearing it up on Impact Wrestling. And she's eager to see, I know that she is watching eagerly to see who will be next in line to challenge for the Hurricane Pro Women's Championship. All three of these women are deserving. Of course, Vipress now twisting and tying up Danni Bee. Are we going to see the Serpent of Evil as the face of the women's division here at Hurricane Pro? And here comes the Lucha Baddie, Miranda Alize, with a drop kick right to the face of the Vipress. Goes for the cover, but Danni Bee right there breaks it up. Miranda Alize with the edge in both experience and notoriety over these two other competitors. Miranda Alize tearing it up in Ring of Honor, tearing it up on AEW. Of course, for 593 days, she's also been the reigning Cruiserweight champion here at Hurricane Pro. This has been her house, and you gotta believe she does not want anyone to walk in and take away what she thinks is rightfully hers as she finally puts her eyes back set on the Hurricane Pro Women's title. And what would it mean for Danni Bee not only to get a shot, or Vipress to get a shot at the title, but to get a victory over Miranda Alize? Danni Bee in a very precarious position on the top rope here as Miranda Alize taking things up a notch. Very uncharacteristic for her to be up on the top rope. Now wait a minute, Vipress getting involved here. Just throwing Miranda like a rag doll off the top. Now the front face lock on the Danni Bee from the Vipress. We're looking for maybe a superplex here. Carries position. Now wait, Miranda Alize back inside. Oh, this is not good. Oh! Power bomb and superplex combination. Tower of Doom. And Miranda going cover on the nearest body, which was Vipress. Vipress got the shoulder up barely. Now Miranda going cover Danni Bee this time. And a 2 count from her as well. See the frustration on the Cruiserweight champion. Oh, inside cradle. Rolls her up. A small package of Danni Bee, almost got it right there. Oh, Danni Bee hoisting up the Vipress. Is that enough? Oh, Miranda at the vast possible second breaks up the cover. The strength of Danni Bee. Oh, look, Miranda cinching in, Miranda rights. The Miranda rights is cinched in. Will Danni Bee tap out? The #1 contendership for the Women's Championship is at stake. Is the role that Danni Bee has been on coming to an end here at the hands of the Cruiserweight champion? And Miranda saw that Danni Bee was almost to the ropes, drags her back to the center, nowhere to go for Danni Bee. Oh, and a kick right to the face from the Vipress. Dropping Cruiserweight champion face first. Miranda rolled all the way to the outside. Tough luck for the Serpent of Evil, but Danni got Vipress up on her shoulders again. This time, Vipress rolls out of it. Danni going for it again. Pump kick misses. Up, back on the shoulders. Oh! Is that it? That's it!